Hi, beautiful. Today we are talking all about how Ayurveda can inform a raw food diet. Now, this is something really unique that I'm bringing together, probably not for the first time, but maybe I'm one of the first people talking about it. Raw food, Ayurveda. Those are the names of my two books, Volume 1 and 2, which are lots of lovely, delicious recipes that strive to unite the ancient Ayurveda wisdom tradition with the natural hygiene, low fat, raw vegan approach to eating. Because I found that relying on one or the other alone can create disbalance, at least in my experience. Being in the raw food community and not really paying attention to Ayurveda so much, I notice a lot of imbalances being cultivated in myself and in just my observation of others. So, I want to talk about how Ayurveda can inform the practice and the lifestyle of a raw food diet. Again, if you're cruising down a raw food diet path and you're not encountering any difficulties, I'm by no means saying what you're doing is wrong or that you need to listen to my recommendations. Listen and trust your body and your inherent wisdom first and foremost. For those of you who might be noticing some disbalances or you're not quite feeling maybe as good as you'd like to feel, then maybe some of this will resonate with you and show you how paying attention more to Ayurvedic principles and Ayurvedic lifestyle can help you feel optimally healthy and happy on your healthy lifestyle, because that is the goal at the end of the day, to feel really, really awesome so that we're able to show up in the world as our greatest, most authentic, most fully expanded, truest, highest selves. So, without further ado, I'm going to talk about 5 different ways that Ayurveda can inform a raw food lifestyle. And I'll be referring to my handy dandy notebook here, so bear with me. So, when I think of Ayurveda, I think of the words balance, grounding, nourishing, balancing, grounding, and nourishing your whole being, not just your physical being, not just your mental being, your emotional being, or your spiritual being, but your whole being. And that is super important because we are not just physical bodies, nor are we just mental, emotional, or spiritual energies floating around in formlessness. We have form, we have these physical bodies, and then we also have formless aspects to ourselves that we're constantly navigating, negotiating, and all of these different parts are always changing as our environment changes around us. So, by using Ayurveda, we can bring ourselves into more balance as we change and as our environment change, so that we are more unified, harmonized, grounded, nourished, balanced. So, by bringing in Ayurvedic awareness, we can create more balance. A raw food diet in particular tends to aggravate vata dosha. And how this tends to manifest is, being a bit spaced out and airy fairy, like think of your quintessential, like, airy fairy, hippy dippy, like ungrounded person. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be that stereotype, okay? There's something to be said of like a lightness of being, a lightheartedness, a playfulness about you. But I think it's also very important as we are in physical bodies to be grounded and embodied. We can get a lot more out of life that way, in my opinion. So, aggravated vata showing up as being spaced out, too airy, very light, cold, intolerant to cold. All the raw foodies are moving to the tropics, which is fine. I get that. I live in Arizona and I love visiting tropical locales, but I also want to be able to go snow skiing and enjoy more winter weather as well, and not feel cold just because I'm in AC or something like that. to also manifest as being ungrounded, like I was saying, disembodied, and on just a physical level with weight loss, like not being able to maintain healthy weight, healthy muscle mass, healthy, menstruation, all these different functions of the body that require healthy weight balance. So the tendency is maybe to lose too much weight. Depends on how you're doing a raw food diet, how many calories you're eating, what your metabolism is like, what your exercise and movement is like. But these are just general things I've noticed. And by bringing in Ayurveda, we can then balance out Vata dosha so that it's not just like we're all disembodied airy fairies not doing anything actually on the physical plane. Which is not very useful if we're cultivating all this consciousness and greater awareness. It would be helpful if those of us who are doing that via a raw food diet can actually make an impact on the world. And I'm not saying that everyone is like this, because there are lots of raw fooders doing awesome stuff that I look up to and admire. But I think bringing more groundedness into one's life can be very, very helpful. So Ayurveda can also help you dial in the raw food diet for your dosha, Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. Take the quiz listed in the description if you have no idea what a dosha is and what your dosha is. I've also talked about it in other videos and in my blog. So you can dial in a raw food diet for your dosha so that the raw food diet is sustainable long term for your innate constitution, your prakriti, your particular combination or singular balance of doshas upon your creation as a human being. So that might be the same as what's showing up in your life right now. Say that you were born Vata Pitta and right now you are still pretty much Vata Pitta. You have trouble with excessive Vata times excessive Pitta, something like that. Or you could be, say, Pitta Kapha, and right now you're manifesting Vata issues. So it can be different, it can be the same. But, making sure this lifestyle, if that's what feels good for you in your heart and soul and mind and body and spirit, like this is what you want, making sure that it's sustainable long term in alignment with your prakriti, your innate constitution, as well as any doshic imbalances that manifest as you grow, change, your environment changes, different phases of life happen. Ayurveda can also help you identify foods and practices that aggravate your dosha so that you can reduce or eliminate them. Say you are Pitta dosha, which is my predominant dosha, and I've always really liked spicy, hot things, and say my Pitta is aggravated, like I'm rashy, I'm having diarrhea, like I'm not really absorbing and eliminating my food properly, everything's flying through me, maybe I'm sweating a lot, I'm heat intolerant, I'm stinky. So those are all signs that Pitta is aggravated. Also, maybe I'm angry. A food that I could look at eliminating would be all of those hot peppers, the hot spices, things like raw garlic, raw onion. These are all foods that are going to tend to aggravate Pitta. So I could maybe dial that in if I'm noticing my Pitta is aggravated. Also adjusting practices. So again, if Pitta is aggravated, I'm not going to want to be sunbathing out in the middle of the day in Arizona in the summertime when it's 100 plus degrees Fahrenheit. I really like being tan, but if Pitta is aggravated, then that is probably not the best idea for me, for example. Or practicing hot yoga in the heat of the day, and taking a really long hike in the heat of the day. All of these things can heat up my body way too much, which would not be helpful. On the flip side, Ayurveda can also help you identify foods and practices that soothe your dosha so that you can include and focus on them. So as Pitta dosha, having an Ayurveda informed lifestyle, I'm noticing that the foods that I'm attracted to, for the most part, are actually really, really awesome for me. So some of these foods are like cucumbers and lettuces, butterhead lettuce, romaine lettuce, cucumber. Like y'all see, if you follow me on Instagram, it's like every dip I make, I'm always including those vegetables with it, or fruiting vegetables, non-sweet fruits like cucumber, because those are really, really good for pitta, as well as things like bell peppers and melons. I'm eating a lot of melons right now, and that's feeling really good. Avocado, very cooling, very soothing, and I seem to do really well when I'm incorporating those in my lifestyle day to day, as well as practices. So using cooling pranayama, for example, or say you are vata dosha predominant, maybe taking out and storing as much of your produce as you can on the counter so that you're eating it at room temperature versus eating food that is ice cold from the fridge or frozen from the freezer, versus pitta, who right now in the summer in Arizona, nice cream is feeling really, really good because it is frozen, it is cold. Sure, the bananas don't have as much nutrition as a fresh banana, but the cooling action is actually very balancing for me, as well as like chilling my melons. This is another food related practice that Ayurveda is helping me think about and identify so that I can bring more balance into my life and my lifestyle. Ayurveda can also help you identify and utilize tools other than food, oh my god, to create more doshic balance, greater well-being, and more well-rounded health. So things like yoga asanas, meditation, pranayama breathing, herbs, massage, oils. So instead of, this kind of runs into my next point, focusing on holistic health rather than using just one tool as the fix all for everything. I've also seen this quite a lot in my observations of different health minded communities. So in the raw food community, the raw food, the food is seen as like the cure all, the fix all to everything physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. And on the flip side, I've been very involved and immersed in Buddhist communities and in meditation communities, as well as yoga communities, and seeing those communities treat meditation or yoga as the cure-all, fix-all, blanket kind of solution to everything. Whereas a more Ayurveda-minded approach would be thinking like these are all important tools that are all necessary parts of creating balance of body, mind, and spirit. Not just one, not just two, all three. Or if you're not practicing yoga, some other form of mindful movement, whether it's dance or martial arts or a walking meditation practice, stretching, Pilates, whatever it is for you. So just thinking more holistically rather than saying this one thing is it, that's all I have to do. Because, just a quick little share, I've done I've done this, y'all, okay? So I've been the raw fooder who's like, oh my god, it's just the food. If I can get the food perfect, then everything will be fine. And I've seen when I'm focusing only on the food, my body does heal. I find and maintain my ideal weight. I feel energetic. I feel light. I feel very, very good. Health problems go away, but my mind might be like, a little bit out there, might be more anxious, spaced out, ungrounded, that kind of thing. Versus on the flip side, I've also focused on meditation to the exclusion of diet and movement. And, I've felt all this like mental and emotional healing. I've been in spiritual blissed out states like you can't even imagine, or maybe you can, I don't know, but feeling like totally awake and blissed out and like radiating joy and joy alone. I've sustained states like that for a long time. But y'all, my body was in like utter disarray. I was carrying excess weight. I had joint pain, inflammation, sometimes very low energy levels, different physical body problems, not feeling like confident or comfortable in my skin despite being in this kind of blissed out, joyful, like almost borderline like delusional, disembodied kind of state. So this is why it's the full picture. It's not just one thing. And Ayurveda is a great reminder to me that we are these multidimensional beings that require the nourishing, the balancing, the grounding, all the pieces of health, paying attention to all of them, because we are more complex than just treating the body or just treating the mind or just treating the spirit. Not that anything is wrong with the body, mind, or spirit. It's just returning again and again, moment by moment, to our natural innate state of harmony, of balance, of love, of light, of all the good stuff that we are made of. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was fun to think about this and share this. If you like it, please like. If you want more content like this, more recipes, information, inspiration, all kinds of stuff I have planned for this channel, please subscribe because I'm feeling very inspired. And yes, if you are feeling the love, please leave me a comment. If you have questions, requests, anything, I would love to hear from you. So do comment. And also in the description, check out my books because I do make recipe books that are very, very awesome. So links for those will be in the description as well. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Much love and namaste.